Let me show you an event arc of time so you kind of understand what I'm talking about here. See, share. Let me see if I can get this to go bigger for you. There you go. So you can see this right here?
Yep.
Okay. It starts with this kind of a concept here, going back here to the moment. Let me get that to change. Going back to the moment, an equation reflecting the moment. And what it's saying is that in this moment, that there are things going on every axis here that constitute a single event in time. And so how that event arc of time comes out, it's like this. And it also, I'll go back to this one, but I want you to see this. So it is saying that each potential that comes through here, each potential, that each one of those has within itself another event arc of time. They are separate points of time, but they have an arc. And what that's defined as, okay, look, here, this event arc of time is reflecting the RMS Titanic. And it is the concept of the target in this example is the moment ice strikes metal. That's the concept of the target at 11:40 p.m. on that night. But all of these things here each one of these arrows are taking one single axis right here, and it's saying, okay, along this axis, what brings it to this point, right? At the event arc of time, at the actual target concept, strike ice. What leads up to that and what follows after that become part of the event arc of time. And what you're looking at here is simply each one of these arrows in this very busy slide
is one string of potentials.
It's potentials, but decisions made in the moment by individuals, by these individuals selected, are only crew members. Okay? So the depiction here is how does the one moment, one person's moment, their reality, how they're dealing in their reality, how does it resonate and cause others to resonate with like decisions in the moment, right? That's the point here, is that this was not just something that happened 5 seconds before it hit the ice. This is something that an entire cascade of moments by individuals causing other individuals to resonate in the same, at the same frequency in the same moment. I mean, in their individual moments. It shows you how something like Captain Edward Smith down here at the bottom at 8 a.m. cancels a scheduled lifeboat drill, right? He cancels it. And at 8:01 a.m., a coal fire is still burning in bunkers 9 and 10 on the starboard side. And it started weeks before while loading coal for the maiden voyage. So it's had this slow burning fire on the starboard side, which was the side where the ice struck. And it's been burning in bunkers 9 and 10. There are photographs of discoloration before they left Southampton on the starboard side. So that becomes another, so that is something that Smith knew about and dismissed and told others not to worry about it. And so that sets into motion, right, because of how he's resonating, his decision to stop the lifeboat drill, cancel that, don't worry about the coal fire, we'll figure that out at sea. We have a schedule to keep. That, how he's resonating in that moment causes, the next person. The iceberg warning is received on the radio at 5:30 p.m. Okay? The next thing, at 5:50, Smith alters course, but he increases speed, right? It just keeps on going down here. You can follow all of these back where you get this another 9:40 p.m. This other ship sends another iceberg warning, and it comes into the radio room, and it doesn't go to Smith, or Smith dismisses it, or one of the other captains don't submit it. Here's one at 9:45. Jack Phillips, the radio operator who actually died, doesn't pass this warning to Captain Smith. Why was that? You keep going down here, each of these individual moments, all of this in this giant arc of time here, and we're only talking about 9 different people here. 9 different people and what they do in their decision processes in the moment, and how one affects the other, affects the other, affects the other, right? Like right up here, right before it really gets bad, 10:55, only an hour after the radio operator does not pass a warning to Captain Smith, the Californian radios them and says, there's a lot of ice and we are stopped and surrounded by ice. That message does not go to Smith. In fact, 1 minute later, as the message comes across, Phillips, same guy down there, radios, shut up, I'm working the Cape race, which is a big race back in the UK. Why was he doing that? Do you think that this little guy came up with that on his own? No. Some officer who was being affected by the leader, how he was resonating, captain, a first officer or a second officer or a third officer came in and said, get the damn race report so we can send that to people. That caused a fatal flaw in the system where this young man tells the people warning him that they're surrounded in ice and they're stopped, and maybe you should stop as well, disregards that because he's been told to get the Cape race results. And it just keeps on going. You start to see these things over and over again until it gets right to the point where ice is, California turns off the radio. Smith, then it comes into here. You got the lookout Reese, sees an iceberg, but even more importantly is back up here somewhere. Oh, at 10:07, the lookouts report, but the binos they're supposed to have been in place so they don't go up with binoculars, right? See what's being depicted here. Now, in that event arc of time, you could grab any passenger and there'd be another event arc of time. What they heard, what they didn't hear, who they were talking to, who they were fighting with, etc. You follow what's going on here? It means that the waveform expressions of these kinds of targets, even though the principal element of the Gestalt is the very moment that Titanic struck the ice, there are events that lead up to that, and the event arc of time and the concept of the target stops the moment the fantail of the Titanic drops beneath the waves of the North Atlantic. That's when the event arc of time stops in that concept. So you can see how, there's a lot of stuff going on there. And if you were to add the complexity in the axes of every time a decision is made on that event arc of time, there are lateral decisions that are made. It affects laterally what goes on. There are decisions that are made that affect vertically and down, and why each one of those axes reflects different people affected by people in leadership, people responding to leadership, people following leadership, people, right? You understand where it goes?
Yeah.
It's a complex gestalt, and it always is. So a remote viewer who's looking for just this event arc of time, that meaning the target concept, the RMS Titanic strikes ice, can drop down, can start perceiving stuff right in that moment, but they will also very often start to perceive things back, along this event arc of time. It's fair to go back minutes, hours, not days, but minutes and hours, and forward and backward in this thing, and down below and up above to all the other things that are affected. I guess what I'm trying to show here is just that how each person resonates in the moment has a direct effect on those around them, and how they present, how they are existing in the moment affects people close to them, people who work with them, people who work for them, people who rely upon their, in this case, passengers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it just cascades to where it takes the life of 1,500 people. Interesting concept, yes?
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of like has stochastic properties, right? Where one event, has some probability of outcomes, and it's amplified. If the outcome turns out to be the most dangerous outcome is probably not the right word, but the most catastrophic, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the old risk assessment matrices, right? You used to do those, right? Where it had I don't know. I forget what they call it, but it was like probability and then amplitude's not the right word, but it's kind of risk on one axis, probability that would happen, and then impact, basically. So you wanted to make sure you avoided the highly negative impacted events that are higher probability.
Exactly.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. Additionally, if you have any feedback, please put something in the comments below. And lastly, if you want to watch the full episode of this clip, you can find it above. Thanks again for watching.